Hey everyone, welcome to Voices for Voices. It is Justin. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the podcast and TV show that is the Voices for Voices podcast and TV show, or TV show and podcast. We are very grateful for you to be joining us. If you can hit that subscribe button, giving us a thumbs up, like, follow, share, subscribe, all those great things are easy to do and they're free. And if you could also do us a favor and reach out and text and do a group text or a group chat and let your uh, closest contacts know about the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast that we have a bold goal of helping at least 3 billion people over the course of my lifetime and beyond. And that includes helping over uh, people from over 300 plus countries and over 1,038 um, cities to over 3,000 cities over the course of my lifetime and beyond. Uh, and thank you to the demand of this show. Uh, However, you are consuming this, whether you're watching, whether you're listening, we just have to say thank you from our hearts to yours. It's been great. Uh, Great week and a half. I guess you could call it, first part of the new year, 2026. From an analytics standpoint, we have really shot up the charts. So we're three. So we are behind the Joe Rogan Experience and the Dan Bongino podcast show. And then there is the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. And we have you to thank for us being in that three spot, poised to move up the charts. And thank you very much. I mentioned since the beginning of 2026, we've seen a skyrocket in the most positive way of how many people are watching and listening to Voices for Voices. Uh, I say this on just about all of our shows, uh, but we are so grateful. We have the best fans. We have the best followers, the best viewers, the best listeners. It's because of you. Again, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have a show to do. Nobody would be watching and or listening, and we would have to find something different to do with our mental capacity, trying to help people and to share uh, stories, share events, share the human experience, which isn't always the funnest thing to do. A lot of times there's a lot of ups and downs, and sometimes there's a lot more downs than ups. And so we have to uh, hold on for those ups because they're coming. We talked about the speaking arc of where we want to start at the top and then we want to work our way down and then finish a conversation, a speaking engagement at the pinnacle, leaving people with great takeaways. The fewer, the better. And so that has a lot to do with uh, everything we really do, from our shows to the content that we put out, our books, our media. It's just one of those acquired experiences that we we come across that we just have to learn over time. So things that are happening in the order that they've happened and are happening to us and to me may be quite different than the way they happen to you. And no big deal, right? We're all unique, we're all human, and there's a lot of different ways to go. I use the word myriad for some reason. Say a myriad different ways to go. Uh, the key is really to hold on because you don't know when there's going to be a dip or there's going to be, heading up a hill, or there's going to be a turn or maybe a corkscrew or a loop. Uh, Many times we don't know that ahead of time. And that goes for all parts of our lives. We can plan and we can plan and we can plan. That doesn't always mean that the outcome is going to match what the plan was. Now, it could, or it could not. Or it could, but it just might take a little bit of extra time. Or we just don't see enough movement in the positive trajectory to give us the the confidence, the invigoration, the reinvigoration, as we learned on an earlier episode of our podcast, when we talk about being reinvigorated as an organization, being able to reach people all across the world. We've been doing that. Now we're scaling that. That doesn't mean we're climbing a wall, like Spider-Man or an action hero, or uh, that means we're taking a strategy that works with a small number of people, a small group, and then we're making it bigger. So we're scaling it. We're taking something small and then we're making it making it bigger. That wasn't a very for those watching, that wasn't a very good circles I was trying to do with my hands. I had the small circle in pretty good shape. Is when I got to the at at scale for the bigger circle. Uh, and it comes down to belief, to perseverance, to believing that there's gonna be a way, no matter how difficult it seems, no matter how much negativity is in the air. You have to believe. And we've talked about this on other media engagements where if we don't believe in what we're doing, how are we going to sell it to somebody else? How are we going to expect that, well, everybody's just going to understand. Now, I will admit, when we first started out with the Voices for Voices podcast and TV show, that's what I kind of thought that. I thought people are just gonna, they're just gonna understand and things are just gonna expand, right? Because we see these influencers, these people that are, putting a video up, putting a clip up, and thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of views, downloads. And we think, oh, well, they did it, so we can do it too. And while that is true, that can happen. The real key is, does it and will it happen for you and for me? And it comes down again to belief in ourselves. Nobody's going to believe if we don't believe. We can't sell a bill of goods. We can't sell a service. We can't sell a show. We can't sell anything if we do not. If we don't believe, forget it. So that's thing one. We got to believe. We have to. It sounds easy. It really does. Oh, yeah. And Justin's talking about, oh, all I have to do is believe and then I'll be successful. That's not the case. I'm saying at the bare minimum, if we're looking to do some big things, we got to start with ourselves. We've got to believe. Tried and tested. And when we believe, it may take a little bit of time or it may take a lot of bit of time. But the more we believe, the more we show our persistence, our passion for what we are doing, then others can see that and hear that, and they can get behind it and say, all right, let me just check it out. Let me see. Let me see what this is all about. You got to get to that point if you're going to get, if you're going to be able to step people through the funnel, right? You're bringing people, like a lot of people in, and then you're like honing in on your key demographics. Or what I'm talking about is we turn that funnel the other way, where the skinny part's at the top, where we start with a few people in a few geographies, and then it expands outward the lower we go. So we call it the reverse funnel effect because we don't, well, let's just say it's very difficult. Again, like I said, to put one video out and have complete buy-in when people don't know your name, they don't know the brand name, the organization, products, services. When people don't know that, you have to sell them on it. And that means you got to do a lot of work for not a lot of money as you get things kicked off. And so that's why we start with that small amount because when we have very little budget, if any, we're only going to be able to start with a couple people. But then it grows outward and swells to reach more people, to have at least the opportunity to get your show, your podcast, your products, your gym that you're building, to get memberships for that, whatever that may be, a concert that uh, you're throwing. Uh, if you want people to come, a lot of times it's going to start small and work your way up. I remember this. I remember a good friend of mine, haven't talked to him as often as should. Somebody's been with Voices for Voices since the very beginning. He's got one of our Voices for Voices mugs he bought in our merch shop. So awesome. Thank you so much, Frank. Frank Pomada, folks. You heard him on earlier episode of the show. You heard him give a presentation at the very first Voices for Voices event, a brand new day. He was coming to us from New York through Zoom or whatever platform we had. Not sure if it was Zoom at that time. Um, but this person, uh, man, I gotta catch up with him. It's a good reminder. He told me because I share my vision and he gets a lot of requests a lot of us do. Hey, will you speak at my event? Will you speak at my event? Will you speak at my luncheon? Will you speak at my gala? And so Frank, he has to qualify whether it's worth his time because this person, he puts in the work, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my gosh, such an incredible person. And so what he told me before because we had some touch bases, and it was up to, or it was Frank's idea. He said, "Hey, can we? I don't feel comfortable just talking now and then in 6 months or whatever the time frame we had before the event." And so it was very cool to see his process, the way he was working through his presentation. And one of the things he said, because I was sharing the vision, like the big time vision, very, very similar. Yeah, very similar. We've shared it. I'm not going to share it on this show. You can look it up. Yes, the three and over 3 billion, over 300 countries, over 3,000 cities. Yes, that came after the initial vision, and that's what I was sharing with Frank. And I said, here's what I would like this event to kind of grow to. And I think I mentioned this to him. but I was sharing him. Again, we weren't even an organization. We hadn't even had one event. Events were getting canceled left and right because of the pandemic. And so everybody, all the speakers, I think we had 12 in all. Some were in person and some, because they spanned the globe, came to us virtually. We had special needs orchestra, we had sign language interpretation. Oh my gosh, we're gonna get back. We're gonna be doing that. And in these conversations with Frank, he said even the Beatles played to a small crowd at first, or a small audience. He had better word. He had much better vocabulary, uh, sharing, or yeah, as he was sharing and basically saying, here's one of the most popular bands, artists in history, and even they started playing small venues with a small amount of people before they blew up and just took over the US, United States, uh, and what seemed to be everywhere that they went. But I can almost guarantee you. So thank you, Frank, for that inspiration. To this day, that's one of the drivers of keeping me going, keeping voices going. Because it's easy to get discouraged. It's so easy. We talk at great lengths about how easy it is just to give up, just to stop. So that's it. It's so easy to do that. The hard part is to continue, is to say, you know what? Just like when we had Natalie Ann Brooks on, and she was talking about trial and error. I wholeheartedly believe if you don't try it, you're not going to know if it's going to work. So it's trial and error. And our organization has been trial and error. There's been lots of errors. In fact, errors are what most people look at and think of. Oh, well, they screwed up. I wouldn't have done this thing, this event, this interview, this show this way. I would have did it a different way, right? So there's going to be naysayers. We know there are. There's always naysayers. The key is when you have that belief in here, when you have that belief in here, when you have that belief in here, that's what helps keep you going. And it ends up being a game changer, a force multiplier, because nobody can compare to the size of your heart and my heart and other people's hearts. When we have that belief and we say we're ready for no's, not no's as in like my nose that just we're ready for no's. Like I'm gonna ask and somebody's gonna say no. And then I'm gonna ask again to somebody else and they're gonna say no. And that's where I'm talking about. It's easy to get discouraged. I'll give you an example. So I was going as I was going through my undergrad marketing uh, degree, and and so this was past the point. So this was after the point where I decided, hey, I'm gonna take my studies seriously. But this one this one class, it was market research class. And what better way to use college students than to have them cold call 150. I think it was 150 per student. It was a big number. It was a big number. And we were told that we were going to be spot checked. Like if we talk to somebody, they say, "Hi, my name's Justin Allen Hayes. I am currently enrolled in the Youngstown State University marketing program. We're working on a market research survey. Do you have 3 minutes to take this survey over the phone?" So many clicks. We got yelled at. I even had my roommate help me, and we made it. We made it fun. I won't get into exactly how, um, but we made it fun. Uh, so as I'm remembering that now. So that was something that we did during our time uh, working on our undergraduate in marketing. And we were dreading it because once we heard no, once we got cursed out, once we got hung up on and then hung up on, and then we would get halfway in and we'd go, okay, this person's going to take it. They're going to take the survey. They're going to take the survey. And then they hang up. Or then they just make it, because what's the worst thing when somebody asks you, hey, do you have a couple minutes to take a survey? Oh, the half truth is usually the survey is going to take longer than what's said. When you say, hey, it's only going to take 2 minutes or it's going to take 3 minutes, now we know darn well it's going to take more than 3 minutes or more than 2 minutes. Back in the day, some people knew that and some kind of like went along with it. So some of the respondents, excuse me, I'm got an itch on my nose, so that happens. So we would get halfway through and we would get answers for, half the questions. And then they would say, this is not 2 minutes long. And then they would hang up and say, hey, I'm done. I don't have the time for this. So how does all this play into Voices for Voices or any organization, any personal goals? I heard so many no's. I heard so many click. This was, before most of us had cell phones. So it was, you didn't have, some still had the dial up where you put your finger in the hole and then it's like, okay, 8, and then it would go around and then you go back and then you go 1, you do the every single number. And so you would do it that way, like the rotary phone, I think is what they call it. But then there would be the digital phone where like you press the buttons and you would hear the beep, like 8 beep, 7 beep, 6 beep. And so that's uh that's kind of the era that we were in when I was going for my undergrad, when I was enrolled and ultimately earned. uh, earned that, and was very and I'm very happy that I did because once I decided to have belief in myself that I could actually indeed turn it around, and by turn it around meaning get better grades, take time to study, even though I was partying and doing all that. Um, I made it a point to get my studies done first. So I devoted a great portion of the week to studying. And then I devoted the rest of it where I would kind of, if I had time and I wanted to, then I would do some work. But if I didn't, I would just kind of, play video games. We'd be playing Tiger Woods golf. Um, miss a lot of classes playing Tiger Woods golf. Oh my gosh. Talk about bringing back memories. Okay. So the no's that we were getting on this survey for a great organization, that is very similar. So while we were doing that for a class, for a grade, and for an organization, the surveys, right? So we were each student, there was a huge list, and then you got, I don't know, 3, 4 pages. And like I said, I think it was maybe 150 total each, or may even been more. I can't remember the actual numbers. There's a lot of people. And it's like, can we just say we did it? But then when we were like, well, if we say we did it and then we get spot checked, I don't want to get a bad grade because of that. Uh, so heard tons of no's with Voices for Voices, with our show, with everything we've done all along the way. We've heard no, 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 no response, no response. This email address is no longer in use. This phone number is no longer in use. No response from a voicemail. And so once you prepare yourself with that belief, it doesn't matter how many no's, it doesn't. I've lost track. I've lost track. I really have. Because I've heard so many, especially in the professional world. Hey, this job's available, apply. You go, you may get feedback. Sorry, this position has been eliminated. We are sorry, but you do have a great background. It's just we're not going to move forward with you. It's all it's all a big no. Every single time you hear it or you read it, and it's a version of a no. You can either give up, which is easy, right? It's close up the computer, just all right, I'm done. I gave it my best. Or we take that belief we have inside, you say, no, 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 no. You're not living rent free in my heart, in my mind, in my soul. Not only aren't you living rent free in my heart, my mind, and my soul, but I'm not paying rent for you to be in my heart, in my mind, and in my soul. Because see, that's what that's what trips up a lot of people. and it still even trips me up from time to time, is we let things get to us and we say, oh man, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that again. I don't want to do this. I have the belief, but it's just, I just don't want to do it anymore. Hearing no, I'm hearing no so many times, and I'm hearing yes so little of the time. I just don't want to do it. I just want to stop because that's the easy thing to do. But don't let anybody live rent free in your heart, in your mind, in your spirit, in your soul. And definitely do not let people charge you for them to be living in your heart, mind, soul, spirit. Because do you think that other person cares what they're doing? No, they don't. A lot of them just have big egos, like, well, I'm so important. Like, I'm just not going to respond, or I'm not going to, my admin let me know, and I'm just not going to respond. That's something I've had to learn the hard way. And it's not like you go through it once and then you're automatically like cured. There's still some no's that sting more than others. But once I look at the logo on my hat, once I look at the logo behind me, I see voices for voices. And then I'm reminded of all of the yeses that I have created. See, somebody might be saying no, but when we create, because of our belief in our hearts, our minds, our bodies, our soul, our spirit, then, all right, we heard no, but I'm still going after it. I'm going to create the yeses. I'm going to create the yeses. And so in that funnel I talked about at the beginning, that start small and then gets wider at the bottom. That's what I'm talking about. Is and I'm talking for me. When I said, you start out with, just a few couple people that, buy in and until, what you're doing and what I'm doing with our organizations, our shows, etc. Those first couple people were me, were my heart, was my heart, was my mind, my body, my soul. So I created those yeses in order to have that expansion happen. Because at some point, somebody's going to see something. And somebody's going to take a look at it. They're going to look at that new product you put out, that new service you have available, that new show that you have started, that new podcast you have going. And they're going to say, okay, I have 15 podcast and 15 episodes. Let me check it out. Or how about this? They have 420 episodes of the Voices for Voices podcast and TV show. So those yeses, there were my yeses. No, the yeses were my heart, my mind, my body, my soul. When you start at one, we know the stats. Stats are low for people that start a show, a podcast at one, that they're going to continue to two, then to 50, then to 100, then 150, then 200, then 250. And now you heard me talk at the beginning also about how we're third behind the Joe Rogan Experience, behind the Dan Bongino show. And then there's us, the Voices for Voices podcast and TV show. It started from a couple of yeses, and they were my yeses. My heart was one of them. My mind, my soul, my body, those were my yeses that got me started, all because I had that belief inside and was, have been, and are invigorated to continue on. So don't let those no's keep you down. Maybe just step away for a moment or two. Don't let those no's live rent free or charge you rent to live in your own heart and your own mind, your own body, your own soul, your own spirit. And pretty soon, people are looking up at you and me. Thank you so much for spending time with us on this episode of the Voices for Voices podcast TV show. We're uniting people. We're uniting people. We have nothing but love for you, whether you're a believer or not. We never can have enough good vibes. Never, ever can we have enough good vibes. So we're sending those to each and every one of you. Whether you watch this the day that the episode drops, or listen to it the day the episode drops, or you'll watch or listen to it 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, like some of our episodes lately have been getting invigorated, reinvigorated. Thank you so much. We love you. Come back for more and let at least 25 of your closest friends, your friend circle, know about the Voices for Voices podcast and TV show. We're everywhere. You can watch us, you can listen to us. If you can Pinterest on it, you can Voices for Voices on it. We love you. Stay strong. Believe in yourself. Take care. We love you. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.